Have you ever thought about how you get different feelings of being excited, moody, or even hungry? No matter how are you feeling right now, your body is producing very specific chemical messages to regulate these exact feelings. These chemical messages control most of your bodily functions, regulating your body temperature, how sleepy you are, how emotional or stressed you are. They can contribute to how much fat your body can store and where it keeps it, and also controls when you start puberty. The chemicals messengers that control all of these feelings are hormones. What are hormones? Well, hormones are the chemical messengers. But how? Because hormones play an important role in chemical communication between cells, and hormones also act as signaling molecules, secreted by endocrine cells, usually in low concentrations into the bloodstream, so that they can reach to all parts of body, but on the same way. These chemical signals can also act locally, that mediated over smaller distances, either action on the same cell or neighboring cells, so hormones can be classified by several ways. One method of classification based on cellular secretion of hormones we will discuss in this video section. As you might know, that the multiple activities of the cells, tissues, and organs of the body are coordinated by the interplay of several types of chemical messenger system. What are these chemical messenger systems, and how hormones are transmitted by cell signaling? Let's discuss. These are autocrine, paracrine, endocrine, neuroendocrine, neural, cytokines, and another one you may or may not be familiar with, which act like hormones are pheromones. How all these chemical messengers act and coordinate body functions. Let's discuss with examples in detail. Autocrine hormones act on the same cells that synthesize them. For example, insulin, like growth factor, so-called IGF-1, which stimulates cell division in the cell that produced it. Clearly it shows, affect the function of the same cells that produced them, as autocrine are actually secreted into extracellular fluid and are released by cells to have a local effect. Examples included, such as eicosanoids, include prostaglandins, thromboxane, prostacyclin, and leukotrienes. These are released from smooth muscle and platelets in response to inflammation, causing blood vessel dilation and blood clot. That shows local effect on the same cells where these act. Now, paracrine hormones act on neighboring cells. Like this, one cell sends signal to the neighbor cell. Example is insulin, secreted by pancreatic beta cells, and affecting secretion of glucagon by pancreatic alpha cells. Did you know juxtacrine? Well, this is another one, closely resembles paracrine, that also act on neighboring cells are juxtacrine, the communication between cells that requires direct physical contact between signal chemicals on the surface of one cell and receptor molecules on the surface of a neighbor cell. Some of these substances directly enter the neighboring target cells through gap junctions. Such substances are also called juxtacrine messengers or local hormones. For example, histamine acts locally. Now comes endocrine hormones, that are main focus of our discussion, acting on cells or organs, to which they are carried through the bloodstream, or through another aqueous ducting system, such as lymph. These hormones transmit over long distances. Examples include cortisol released from adrenal cortex, present above on kidney, directly enters bloodstream. Endocrine hormones are released by glands or specialized endocrine cells into the circulating blood and influence the function of target cells at another location in the body. More than 50 different hormones are produced by endocrine glands. Example included, growth hormone released from pituitary gland. Now comes types which are commonly used by both nervous and endocrine system. Neuroendocrine hormones, combination of both neural and endocrine. The hormones are synthesized in a nerve cell, so-called neuron, which releases the hormone adjacent to the target cell. There, act paracrine, as act on adjacent cell, so this is also paracrine, otherwise act as endocrine, as the hormones which are synthesized in nerve cell releases it into the bloodstream, which carries it to the target cell, such as from the hypothalamus to the anterior pituitary gland through the portal system. For example, adrenocorticotropic hormone, ACTH. These messengers are also called neurohormones. But why? This is because these are produced by neurons and function like a hormone. Examples are oxytocin, antidiuretic hormone, and hypothalamic, releasing hormones. Did you know? What are neural hormones? Well, neural hormones. This is neurotransmission, when a chemical is released by one neuron and acts on an adjacent neuron. These chemicals are termed as neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters produce virtually instantaneous effects, for example, acetylcholine, whereas some chemicals have a slower onset, but longer-lasting effect on the target organ and are termed as neuromodulators, for example, certain opioids. Now comes another type of cellular secretion which act many ways. Cytokines are peptides secreted by cells into the extracellular fluid and can function as autocrine, paracrine, or endocrine hormones. Examples of cytokines include the interleukins and other lymphokines that are secreted by helper cells and act on other cells of the immune system. Another important secretion of cytokine hormones, such as leptin, produced by adipocytes, are sometimes called adipokines. And the last one, pheromones, that are secreted into the environment to modify physiology and behavior of other individuals, mostly seen in animals and related to reproduction. Pheromonal transmission is actually the release of volatile hormones, called pheromones, into the atmosphere, where they are transmitted to another individual and are recognized as an olfactory signal. This is chemical transmission of volatile hormones. This was all about this section.
Explore our extensive library of over 1,800 video lectures to learn about a wide range of topics. Only on sqadia.com.